Welcome to the Flora podcast, a place where we help you create a life you're excited about. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Flora, and today we're going to talk about what to do with those extra 2 hours that you now have, now that you've decluttered your life. Several podcast episodes ago, I talked about how you can get 2 hours more in every single day by decluttering all of the extra. This is what I do. This is what I help people do. I help people declutter the 9 types of clutter that get in the way of their life. What are those 9 types of clutter? They are body clutter, physical clutter, mental clutter, emotional clutter, spiritual clutter, financial clutter, daily clutter, process clutter, and environmental clutter. These types of clutter show up in almost every single facet of our life. When people come to me, they're pretty sure about what they want. They're pretty sure about where they're at. They're just not quite sure of what they need to declutter in order to get there faster. So, through coaching, through our sessions, through Voxer Access, which is a voice memo app that I use for my private clients, they clear clutter very, very quickly. Then all of a sudden, they have all this extra time. Then all of a sudden, they come to me and they're like, oh my God, Flora. I literally sat for an hour yesterday, almost in a panic because I didn't have anything to do and I didn't know what to do because I haven't had an hour to myself in decades or in years. This is where the magic happens. This is where you can create the life that you've always wanted. This is where you can finally go to that pool every day if you want to. You can go to the gym without guilt. You can go for that extra long walk. You can go for that mani-pedi. You can go for that massage. You can go do the things that you've wanted to do for a very long time. You can crochet that blanket. You can take that class at the community center. You can go shopping. You can have lunch with your girlfriends. You can go do the things that you've been craving to do for so long. But what does that look like if you haven't had time ever to do these things? Well, the first step is give yourself permission to just daydream. Get out your journal and ask yourself, what do I want? What do I want? Now that I have this extra hour or 2 hours in my day, what would my dream life look like? If I had an extra 2 hours today, what would I do? What would I do? Would I take a nap? Would I read a book? What would I do? And I know that this sounds so arbitrary, but this is a conversation I have had so often with people in my client base. This is what they say. I know that you had me go through my dream life exercise, and I wrote down all the things that I would do on the days where I had all the time in the world. But now that I actually have that time, I'm stuck. I feel like I need more permission to do this, or they're just waiting to have something else on their to-do list. They're waiting for the time that's finally now come. And so allowing yourself to just say, hey, I actually have this time. It's okay to do it. It's okay. There's you're not going to get in trouble. Like I said, in all the years that I've been coaching people, so many things have come up. So many emotional things come up for people when they realize that they actually have the time to live the life that they've always wanted. They finally have freedom. They finally have that time freedom in their life to do those things that give you that deeper sense of purpose, that deeper sense of meaning, that more fulfilled version of their life that they've wanted for so long. So if you are finding yourself in that space right now, where you have decluttered all the clutter, and you're in that space where you're like, God, now what do I do? Now's your time to live that life that you're obsessed with. Now's that time to sit down and say, what do I want to do? And notice what comes up. This is something that I also help my clients through. A lot of people have fear around being able to live that life. A lot of people have fear about, what are my friends going to say if they know that I'm at the pool at 1:00 in the afternoon on a Monday? What are they going to say? They're probably going to be like, dude, I'm coming over. Let me get my sunscreen, Give yourself permission to be the example of what's possible. Be the example of what's possible in your friend group and in your family. Somebody's got to take the lead. Why not do it? Why not let it be you? Seriously. And when I say that to my clients, they're like, hell yeah. And a lot of my clients have be the example of what's possible on their reminder boards. If you don't know what a reminder board is, listen to the vision board class that I did several weeks ago. But when you're the example of what's possible in your life, people follow suit. People look up at you. And this is when they stop and say, what are you doing? Why are you so happy? How can you have this much free time? And it happens when you declutter all the bullshit. It happens when you get rid of all the extra non-essentials in your life that are just taking up space. Every single thing that you have in your home, in your life, in your digital realm that you don't need is taking up your time. I recently did a private decluttering day with one of my clients, and she got rid of 75% of her clothes. And I asked her how this was going to impact her day. And she's like, well, I spend at least 5 minutes every day just standing there looking at my closet, just looking to see what I'm going to wear. And I asked her, now that you've gotten rid of 75% of your clothes and you're going to save 5 minutes every day, what is that going to do? Like, what are you going to do with that extra 5 minutes every single day? That's an extra cup of coffee. That's a 5-minute conversation with your child. That's a 5-minute meditation. That's 5 minutes where you can stop and just breathe and just soak in the morning. What would that feel like for you? That's what aligning your life 1 degree at a time by decluttering all the crap getting in the way, that's what this gives you. It gives you those little pockets of 5 minutes here and there. And on average, my clients get 2 hours back in their day. 2 whole hours. Think about that. What would you do with 2 extra hours? And this is literally a question that I want you to bring to your journal. This is your assignment. Grab your journal. Sit down and ask yourself, what would I do with 2 extra hours every day? Now, if 2 extra hours seems a bit much and seems a little bit out there, narrow it down to an hour. What would I do with an extra hour a day? You might sleep in an hour, or you might go to bed an hour earlier. But whatever it is, give yourself permission to think, dream, ponder, wonder, and give yourself permission to embody that feeling. Embody the feeling of having that extra hour. And this is what decluttering your life does for you. When you have whittled away the non-essentials and you have in your life that which you use. Now, this is not about being minimalistic. This is not about being a minimalist. This is about being intentional about absolutely everything that you have in your life, down to the amount of underwear that you have, the amount of blankets that you have, the amount of silverware and dishes, the amount of things that you have in your email inbox, all of that stuff. Yes, it does take time to declutter. That's why we have our virtual decluttering days the second Saturday of every single month, to give you that space to declutter and get rid of those things and have you get very intentional about the type of life that you want to live so that you can have your life back. Our society is bombarded with ads to buy, have. But what that does is it robs you of your time, of your attention, and your money. And what decluttering does is it gives you your attention back. It gives you space and time freedom like you've never had before. And I promise you, you're going to sit there and realize one day, oh my gosh, what do I do? I don't have any laundry to do. I don't have any dishes. My inbox is empty. Everything is done. Now what do I do? That's when the magic happens. That is when you start to live a life that you're absolutely freaking obsessed with. And I promise you, yes, it does take time to declutter, but I promise you it happens a lot faster than you think it will. If you want this for yourself, if you want to finally have extra time in your day to do the things that you wanted to do, click the link in the show notes that says Align Your Life. Let's get started right away. I hope this serves you today. I love you, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. All links mentioned are in today's show notes.